Hi everyone. Thank you so much for joining today. I'm Annu, Customer Success Manager at Amoeboids, and I work very closely with teams who are trying to make OKRs actually work, not just exist on the dashboard. And if I had to summarize this quickly, based on my experiences with customer, this is what I generally hear, that we set OKRs well, but we struggle to keep them updated. So today's session is not about how to write OKRs, but it's more about something much more real, a pain point that most of the OKR champions face, or the managers and the leadership teams face, is how to make sure OKR check-ins actually happen every week without chasing people. So by the end of this session, you will walk away with a clear understanding of why check-ins fail, what actually works in real teams, how to make this process consistent without adding more work. So let's get started. So first of all, we will look at the agenda. In today's session, we will cover why OKRs check-ins often fail, the impact of inaccurate OKRs, making OKR updates simple and consistent. So I'll share some best practices and practices for lightweight weekly check-ins, how automation helps teams stay on track. So using automated nudges and reminders to maintain progress updates, and how UpRaise in Jira enables reliable OKR tracking. So I'll also walk you through a live demo on how to create OKRs, how to track them, how to plan your weekly check-ins, and how to set up automated reminders and so on, right? So, and then at the end, we will do a Q&A session. If you have any queries, you can ask. So in the meanwhile, even if you have any queries, keep posting it in the chat and we will talk about that at the end of the session. So moving further, why OKRs check-ins fail oftenly. So let me describe a very common pattern I have seen across the teams. At the start of the quarter, um, in a lot of teams who are building their OKR process, or who are working on OKR according to OKR methodology, we see that the energy is too high amongst the team. Everyone is so aligned. Everyone has clearly defined their OKRs, but then picture keeps changing after a couple of weeks, week 2, week 3, week 4, and you realize that updates are getting delayed, check-ins get skipped, managers start following up manually, and suddenly the OKR dashboard becomes unreliable. And here's the important part. The problem is not actually the OKRs, but the main problem is the update process. So if we talk about a real life example, one of our customers had perfectly defined OKRs, but by the mid quarter, their leadership stopped looking at the dashboard. Why? Because they didn't trust the data anymore, not because the goals were wrong, but because updates were happening consistently. So you can imagine it's not only about setting up OKRs perfectly, but the actual um, um, battle starts when people uh, you know move into that particular objective cycle further. The days and weeks keep passing, and then you don't see any progress on those OKRs because people are not consistently updating those OKRs. You do not get a clear picture of what exactly is happening, where people are going, how much they are progressing. All the time that you have invested in, hiring an OKR champion, setting up OKRs, you bought a tool for OKRs, and so on. A lot of behind the scene efforts goes on in this entire process. But what if you are not actually? What if your users, your employees, are not actually updating those OKRs consistently? That's the main point here. So. A familiar scenario that I have noticed with couple of customers is that managers keep asking about the OKR update, right? Can you update the OKR progress, or what is the status of this particular key result? Is this goal still on track or not? Right. So these are the questions that managers or the leaderships keep asking to their employees, to their teams. Even OKR champions also, is not able to figure out in such cases where exactly things are going. And uh, organizations or the people realize that they are spending more time in chasing updates rather than actually making the progress. So, um, if you find this scenario familiar in terms of your OKR process, we have got the solution in today's webinar here. So before we actually move towards the solution, here are a few more, background aspects in terms of this particular topic here. So the impact of accurate OKRs. When check-ins are inconsistent, what exactly happens or how exactly it impacts the overall organization? So starting from the leadership team loses the trust in OKRs because we all know that leadership teams already are a lot of, quite busy in their high-end tasks and the strategies and so on. And if they do not get the ready data on the dashboards, they start losing the trust on the dashboard. They tend to ignore because they know that they are not going to find the relevant data on the dashboard. uh, the risk stay hidden for longer time, right? So this doesn't happen all of a sudden as soon as you set the OKRs for a new cycle. This starts happening over the time, and till the time you realize that you are a lot behind in terms of, getting these outputs from the goal that you are setting up for your employees or the process that you have established. By that time, possibly a lot of things are already affected because the risk was hidden for long time, because you didn't realize when you didn't realize it possibly toward the mid of the cycle that you have set. Decision making slows down. Of course, you don't have any data in place. In that case, you won't be able to make any decisions for, in terms of your strategies, organizational strategies, team strategies, or project related decisions. Anything that is, that could be clear. uh, if your goals were perfectly managed and perfectly updated, all your employees, everything will slow down because people are not getting the real time updates, real time analysis numbers on in place, and teams lose alignment, right? So when things start breaking, it doesn't only impact one of the aspects in the organization, starting from leadership to the team and an individual employee, it impacts everywhere. So if you don't know what's going on in my team, if you don't know what's going on in the others team, with whom your goals were also aligned, everything is broken, and of course that alignment won't be there. So OKRs only work when the progress is visible to everyone, or it is visible to the stakeholders, it is visible to the leadership, because it's not only about set and forget, but it's more about keeping that consistency of updating OKRs on regular basis. So it's all about that. So why updates get delayed? So there are some common reasons that we hear from teams, or whenever I work with our UpRaise customers who are doing OKRs for years and years, right? Or people who have been using some other tools for OKRs, and when they share their challenges, we get to hear that, right? So the common reason is that teams skip the check-in, right? Because they feel that updating OKRs is an extra work for them, apart from whatever they do on regular basis, right? The process is complicated, so it's not easy for them to directly go on a specific page and find a compiled list, or maybe quickly move to the OKR and quickly update it. They find it a very complicated process because probably they are doing it in some other tool. They have to go and log in, or they need to find an objective, and there could be any reason that why they might find the process complicated. Too many reminders are needed. Uh, we have seen that you need to manually chase people to update the OKRs, or you need to send too many reminders. So let's say if as an OKR champion, I have a team of 100 people and I know all of them have some goals assigned to them. And if I'm told that every week I have to send an email reminder, or twice a week I have to send email reminder to 100 people to ensure that they update their OKRs, as an OKR champion, it becomes an extra work for me. And on top of that, I'm not sure how many of them are actually reading those reminders, or whether even if they read those reminders, whether they are reading it or whether they are updating their OKRs or not, right? So it's completely a loop that keep following, and then the end result is that updates are getting delayed and tools are disconnected from their daily work. So like I mentioned earlier, possibly they are using an OKR tool which sits outside of their daily work, and the tools they use day in, day out, right? So if you have a separate OKR tool that they are supposed to open only for updating their OKRs once in a week, twice in a week, they tend to avoid doing that. They tend to forget, they tend to ignore. So these are the reasons why updates get delayed in terms of the OKR process that you are managing in your system. What good OKR tracking looks like. So we have seen the negative side, I would say, of this part. So let's flip the side and let's talk about some positives, right? So uh, imagine a different scenario where teams update the progress in seconds. Managers are instantly able to see the goals' health. Leadership trusts the OKR dashboard because they are able to see the real-time data on the dashboard day in, day out. And everyone stays aligned on the priorities, right? So uh, so the problem that we talked about, delayed updates, manual tracking, chasing teams, becomes actually completely takes a 360 turn here, and you will see that these problems are actually resolved with quick updates, automated nudges, and the real-time visibility. So these are the problems versus solution for what could OKR tracking look like, right? So this is what exactly the consistent check-ins enable when you want to see a picture of what good OKRs tracking look like, right? So moving further, of course, we all know that these days a lot of systems are enabled with AI and automation. So with this particular topic today, automation comes in picture, right? Because automation removes the friction from OKR tracking. Instead of chasing update, automation enables team to receive automated nudges, right? So as an OKR champion or as a manager, I don't really have to inform people, send that email to everyone that, hey, hi, you have to update this OKR, right? So that part of my work and unnecessary extra effort that I have to take is eliminated because of the automation. Check-ins happen on time. So if you start the loop from the beginning on a correct note, everything else will keep following, right? So check-ins will happen on time, which will result in managers in leadership getting the real visibility into the dashboard, real visibility into the OKR progresses. They are able to make decisions based on that, build their strategies and so on. So that is very important for the leadership. And at the manager level, managers get the real-time progress updates, right? So this is completely a loop that is interconnected, and that's where the things keep working. So if you uh, look at it from a process perspective, if these things keep going as it is, then everything will fall in place, and your OKR process that you are managing will show you some successful output, some successful results at the end of the objective cycle that you are managing, right? So people manage their OKRs on different cadences, quarterly, semi-annually, annually. So whatever cadence it is, if you are following the process, if your teams are updating OKRs on time and consistently, more importantly, then everything will fall in place and you will see the end results uh, um, in the expected way. So that's where we introduce UpRaise for Jira. UpRaise helps team to manage OKRs directly within Jira. So this eliminates a very important point about adoption and about ignoring to log into some other system and updating their OKRs or looking at their OKRs and so on. Because teams who are working on Jira, they always log into Jira, they work in Jira day in, day out. So they don't find it very difficult to uh, update their OKRs or to look at their OKRs on regular basis. So that's a very important point. Um so since it sits within Jira, it helps you to track and set and track OKRs alongside work. You can run weekly simple check-ins with the help of OKRs features that I'm going to talk in a bit. You can send automated reminders. You can track goal progress in real time with the help of the dashboard. So everything that I have explained will happen within one tool, that is UpRaise, and within Jira that people already update. So I'll show you some integration. I'll show you some features and some important points where you will understand how tightly UpRaise is integrated and how easy it is for people to manage their OKRs right within Jira and to ensure that they are consistently updating their progress. So now, how teams use UpRaise. So this is how the typical workflow looks like for the successful teams who have been using OKRs for years, right? So the first thing is that punching happens on time. That is the main point here, like I explained earlier. Then they run a lightweight check-in, weekly check-in meeting. So for check-in meetings also, you need to have data handy. Then uh, automated nudges remind teams to update their OKRs, right? So again, that manual part is completely eliminated here, and managers are able to track progress through the dashboard. So this is a very, this is kind of a success plan or the success picture in terms of appraise for a lot of enterprise, small, medium, and enterprise companies who have been using appraise, who have been trusting appraise for years and years. So out of this entire success picture, what exactly you get is consistent OKR hygiene that is maintained across the teams, across the system. So when OKR check-ins happen consistently, leadership is able to trust the OKRs in the dashboard. Uh, there won't be any hidden risk in terms of how you are managing your OKRs, what progress you are making on the OKRs. Decision making is um, fast and efficient, and alignment improves across the organization. So overall, it makes OKR a powerful execution framework if you are updating your OKR consistently. Now, let's do a quick demo of OKRs. We will talk about how to create OKRs in UpRaise, how you can run weekly check-ins with the help of OKR views, automated reminders, how can you set them, and how you can track the progress via dashboard. So first of all, this is how OKR objective. This is how UpRaise looks like in terms of OKR modules. Of course, there are many other modules in the OKR UpRaise app, but for this discussion, we will completely focus on objectives and key results. So if you have a right permission, you can click on add objectives, and you will be able to add different types of objectives like company, individual team OKR, or if you need, you can also add more levels of OKRs based on your departments, based on your needs, etc. If you are a big team, right? So let's say I'm creating a company level OKR. Here I can add a title which says that become a top 10 OKR product vendor, right? So that's your objective at company level. And you can select an owner. So it will be one of your team members. So you can assign it to yourself or you can create it. You can select different objective cycles here. So let's say this is the objective cycle that I'm selecting. I'll just try to select more relevant one. So let's say this is the objective cycle that I'm selecting. You would notice that you can see the start date, end date. You can look at the visibility of the OKRs. You can set it visible to everyone or make it visible to only specific users and teams. And you can create that objective, right? So in this way, you can create objectives for different teams, individual at different levels. So when I select team level objective, everything remains same. It's just that you can select a team here, right? So for example, I'm creating an objective for sales team. I can do that here. And I can make this objective visible to the entire team or the specific users from team or make it visible to everyone. Rest of the things remain same. Same goes for the individual objective as well. So if I'm creating an individual objective, of course, I'll assign it to an individual and rest of the things like visibility, cycles, the duration of OKRs, etc. remains the same. Once you create an objective, so I won't create one, I'll just quickly navigate to one of the existing objectives here. And now I'm moving to the browse OKR screen here, right? And here we will see some objectives. So these are the different objectives that we have created. And in these objectives, we have different key results added in it, right? So you can add more key results in your objective. You can look at the progress of your objective. You can track the progress on the charts or on the line charts, etc. So there are a lot of things in terms of how you can use UpRaise and track your OKRs, but we will just stick to the creation process as of now. In key results, you will have, just give me a moment. I'll just move to the another. I'll move to another instance here. Yeah, here we go. So if we look at this objective here, this is an individual level objective where I see this I, and you can add more and more key results that are from the different types, right? So metric key result is a numeric in nature where you can track increasing, decreasing number or the range of numbers. In to-do type of key results, you can create binary type of key results, which are either completed or not completed. You can also align your Jira issues with as your key results, or you can also align a bunch of key results as single key result within your OKRs. So there are multiple types of key results that you can create within the OKRs, and you can manage your OKRs here. So we do have separate webinars on these topics where we talk about these key results in detail. So this is kind of a quick brief from this discussion's perspective. So you can see the way you can manage your OKRs in UpRaise. You can add the progress. So if I'm doing the punch in, so when I was talking about the punch in. This is what it is, right? So you have to keep consistently updating your OKRs. So people have to come back to the system, update their OKRs, and complete the update process here. Uh, so this is what about the OKR punch in here. So in terms of these punch ins, right? People need to consistently keep their uh, progress updated. So the dashboard show up the right data, the OKR views that you create, about which we will talk in a few minutes. The views that you are using for weekly check-ins will have real-time data, so your managers can look at the real-time data when they are discussing this in their weekly check-in meetings and so on. So what UpRaise does is it allows you to set reminders for your objectives and key results. So here you will see that we have this reminders column or the reminders tab, where you will have different types of uh, frequency for your OKRs. How exactly you set it? You set it from the manage tab. So here, if you see, this is the manage tab. This is visible to only admins, and you can set the reminders or enable the reminders on different cadences, right? So let's say I want to ensure that whoever has not updated their OKRs on weekly basis, they get an email reminder for the OKRs, right? For the key results that they are updating. So once you enable this, people will keep getting weekly reminders until their objective is in open status. And they will be able to get a consolidated list of those KRs that they have to update or they own. So at one place, they find the entire list of KRs and they can directly go and punch in those KRs. So that's the main process here in terms of having weekly reminders enabled. So if I just open this tab here, and if I go to the OKRs, right? So here we go, and we enable this configuration, right, on weekly basis. So this is the weekly reminder that you see here, right? And that way you can ensure that instead of sending those emails manually, people are getting automatic reminders. Now, moving on to the next part about the weekly check-in. So what I have done here is that I have created an OKR view. So if I click on create view, here you will notice that you can create a private or a public view, which allows you to apply different filters. So if I click on add group and look at the filters, you will notice that there are a lot of filters that you can use. So you can select the level of objective cycle, who owns it, what status it should be. If you are maintaining levels to classify your OKRs, in which from which specific levels you want that OKR to be OKR view to be related to, and so on, right? So there are a lot of different OKRs. Even if you look at this last punch in, you can select last 2 weeks option here. So if whenever you look at this particular OKR view, it will provide you the last punch-in updates only for last 2 weeks. Or if you are doing it on a monthly basis, bi-weekly basis, right? So you will see that you can set these reminders. You can set this entire duration of last punch-in on different durations, and system will show you the OKRs that are, that have last punching in the given duration. So this again allows you a complete flexibility and one-time setup, so you can see the real-time data. But it will only happen if people are updating their data on time, and which is why we have the automated reminders for them. So like I mentioned, everything is looped with another point or the another step that you want to take. So that's how everything is interconnected here. Now, once you have set up this entire view, you will be able to see that in this view, you can also enable different columns. So you want to see the progress, you want to see who has last updated it, what was the last comment, what is the description of that OKR, what is the confidence score, and etc. So you can add these different attributes of objective, different pointers of objective as columns. And when you add that as a column, you would notice that that information is available for you. It is readily available here to understand and to discuss within your weekly meetings. So these OKR views are can be used in a lot of different scenarios, not just for the weekly meetings or for the weekly check-ins. You can get you can create any kind of OKR view here to extract the exact information that is needed for you to track the OKR progress. And if your teams are updating their OKRs, their punching in their KRs on time, they will be able to you will be able to see that data popping up here or displayed here on your on your OKR views correctly. So this is one of the ways where you can do the weekly check-ins. Now let's move on to the dashboard. So this is one of the custom dashboard that I have created. So you can create a public or the private dashboard again. You can add different types of gadgets that are available within UpRaise. So you can see OKR progress chart, UpRaise chart. Then you have two-dimensional statistic reports, confidence score charts, OKR view summary, and a lot of other things, right? So you can use these gadgets and add them on your um, OKR dashboard and make it visible to everyone, or maybe make it visible only for leadership based on their requirements. You can bring those stats on the dashboard and make it visible to them. So if you are updating your punch-ins, this data will accurately show up on your dashboard, and leadership teams or managers or the team members themselves will be able to build these dashboards for themselves or for the teams, for the strategic teams and so on, and look at this data day in, day out. Right. So here you can see this is a weekly progress for all the OKRs in that particular cycle, whereas this is a weekly progress only for a particular team, right? Then this is a current progress of this particular team here. You can see how many OKRs are at risk, how many of them are, on track, if they are lagging or what, right? So all this data will be readily available for you. And then there is an OKR chart uh, where you can see, how many, what exactly is the progress of different teams here, right? So here you can see sales team has 7 objectives, and what exactly is the progress of those objectives there. You can look at this. So if we um, see this major part, here you will be able to see different stats here. So in this way, you are able to track all the stats on one dashboard, and all of this information will be readily available for you to take your decisions, to understand where exactly the goals are going, where exactly teams stand in terms of their goals and so on, if you are doing these check-ins on regular basis. So when you have the automated structure for reminding people to update their OKRs, when you have a proper filters or the OKR view. We call them as OKR views, but they are nothing but the saved filters of your OKRs. If you have them in place, you will be able to initiate those weekly, bi-weekly discussions with your team, understand their problems, understand if they are stuck anywhere, understand why they are making such a good progress, understand why they are not making progress, and so on. So this will help you to understand the clear picture of your OKRs, and then at last, you will have the dashboard to analyze the data in terms of your OKRs. So that's how it works. In terms of how, that's how it explains why it is important to ensure that your weekly check-ins or the regular check-ins should be consistent, and how you can ensure that this is happening within your teams. So that's what I wanted to showcase in terms of the live demo. So key takeaways from today's session is to make OKRs truly effective. Uh, you need to keep updates lightweight. You need to make check-ins consistent. I think this is the most important takeaway from today's session. Automated reminders, and then ensure the visibility for manager with the help of different dashboards, OKR views that you can create, and the reports that you can build within the UpRaise, which will help you to ensure you are successfully managing your OKR process and building those goals and working upon the strategies that you want to plan. So if you have any questions, please do ask. Uh, and that's all for the session today. So I'll just wait for a couple of more seconds. If you do not have questions, then we are all covered for the session then. So in the meanwhile, if you want to start your OKR journey with UpRaise, scan this QR code and get a link to our marketplace app for UpRaise. Install app for 30-day free trial. Explore it. If you have any questions, reach out to us via our chat support or the support portal, or you can schedule a dedicated demo for your teams as well. So please do reach out to us if you have any questions.